Jordan Poyer's brother calling out Brandon Beane, basically saying that the Bills have made a mistake letting Jordan Poyer go, as well as all these players, really. You consider this. And Jordan Poyer's brother saying everyone and the fans have Brandon Beane's back, but they don't know what the players know about Brandon Beane. And I mean, it kind of brings into question here about just the hardships of being a GM in the NFL. I mean, you can't keep everyone happy. Now, I do think at the end of the day, there is still a chance that Jordan Poyer and some of these players come back. Like, I don't know if they're ultimately completely gone. My hope is still high that they do come back. I think Beane did them the decency of letting them go a week before free agency here to let them get their bearings on things and their agents get their bearings on things to test the market. And, you know, maybe we did approach guys like Ciaran Neal, Jordan Poyer, Trey White. I mean, obviously we approached Von Miller, who also reduced his salary down to basically $8 million we're saving off the cap for this year because Von Miller, and he's still incentivized. Like, we still are giving him the incentives. He could literally earn up to like $20 million still in incentives, depending on how well he performs. But I think, you know, the Bills obviously approached Von Miller and were basically telling him, like, hey, look, you need to take or you need to restructure things or we're going to have to cut you, right? So Von Miller weighed his options, and I think he understands what we have here in Buffalo with Josh Allen, everything that we're cooking up. Like, we're going to have a chance at winning the Super Bowl each and every single year because we have Josh Allen as our quarterback. Von Miller believes in himself and knows that really he didn't perform well last year. We paid him all the money that was on his contract last year. We played him like he was going to be a top 5 defensive end in the NFL, and he just wasn't. So, I mean, you really look at both sides of things. Even the year he got hurt on Thanksgiving, Von Miller couldn't finish that season either. So, I mean, we paid him a premium for not even playing, not even recording a sack last year. We cut Von Miller. Like, what is he going to get in free agency, right? Jordan Poyer obviously did some decent things this past season. And, you know, same thing. I think we potentially approached Jordan Poyer. We approached all the players that we cut and asked them to take a pay cut. And if they said no, then we said, okay, we're going to release you, let you test the market, and just kind of see what they get. Maybe if Jordan Poyer doesn't get what he is expecting that he would get, maybe he does come back for an extremely reasonable deal, something a lot cheaper than what we were going to pay him, so the Bills would ultimately save money. Now, hearing that Jordan Poyer's brother is upset, calling out Brandon Beane, really don't think it's that big of a deal at all. I just think Brandon Beane, you can't keep everyone happy. Even Trey White, like, how hard is it going to be for Trey White to get a premium in free agency, knowing that he's coming off an Achilles, knowing that he's coming off an ACL, knowing that he hasn't really been really himself ever since the first injury. And you listen to Chris Brown, you listen to Steve Tasker, you listen to all the other players in the NFL and how difficult it ultimately is to get back to the player you once were after sustaining those injuries, especially the following season. So, you know, I think it is likely we're going to see these players in different uniforms, whether it's Trey White, whether it's Micah Hyde even retiring, debating retirement, whether it's Jordan Poyer, I mean, Ciaran Neal, Nyheim Hines. We parted ways with Mitch Morris, you know, and listening and seeing Mitch Morris's comment, his goodbye to Buffalo, it was kind of interesting because he was like, nothing is going to hurt more than not being a part of this Buffalo Bills locker room. And you would have thought, like, the Bills maybe would have tried to restructure him or, like, tried to do something to retain him in Buffalo. So maybe Brandon Beane knows he's going to utilize free agency as leverage to determine a fair market value. And that's something that we always talk about here, is determining a player's fair market value. Like, the fair market value for a player is really contingent on what other teams are willing to pay that player. And if they have a mixed signal, like if Jordan Poyer gets approached by the Buffalo Bills and they're like, hey, look, we want to pay you this for this upcoming season. And Jordan Poyer's like, oh, no way, that's way too cheap. You know, and they can't find that common ground or a common price. let him test free agency. Let him see what other teams are willing to pay him. Just similar to last year, Jordan Poyer realized, hey, look, like no one's going to be paying me a premium. I might as well just come back to the Buffalo Bills for this price. But still, because of our cap situation, it's still not reasonable enough. So Jordan Poyer is going to test free agency. He's going to actually find his fair market value. And man, if maybe a team is willing to pay him $1 million more, maybe he's willing to sacrifice that and come back to the Buffalo Bills. But knowing that we just signed Taylor Rapp, he's going to be the strong safety of the Bills. And I think, you know, the chances of bringing back another kind of strong safety like Jordan Poyer, they're versatile. Micah Hyde was really that free safety type. Jordan Poyer was kind of that strong safety type, although they rotated, they both played each. And I think Taylor Rapp, clearly a stronger physical style safety. He's not necessarily a free safety type with a lot of range and speed. He's more physical, heavy, hard hitter, and a little bit younger. I think definitely has a little bit more explosive strength right now than Jordan Poyer, who's getting a little bit up in age. So I do think the Bills have a hole here at free safety, like a free safety, speedier type safety. And I know the rumor is that we're going to be moving Connor McGovern in to the center spot, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, highest paid free agent for the Buffalo Bills last year, so being plopped at the left guard spot. Get rid of Mitch Morris. I mean, we put in Connor McGovern at center. I mean, how much are we really losing? I know, like, Mitch Morris, definitely a great center, but, I mean, how much are we really losing by putting Connor McGovern in at center in place of Mitch Morris? You know, I think, obviously, they probably do some things a little bit better than one another, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, I think Mitch Morris and Connor McGovern as centers are pretty much equal. So we're not losing much there. Re-signing David Edwards, coming back to the Bills, who's familiar with this scheme, familiar with Aaron Kromer, plugging him in at left guard. And let's not forget what we did with Osiris Torrance. I mean, a rookie who started each and every single game and balled out of control for the Bills at right guard. Clearly, we know what we're doing, and Aaron Kromer knows how to find some diamonds in the rough at the guard position, so we could easily draft a guard and have him be kind of like a guard center swing type player. So, I really do think maybe there is a possibility of some of these players coming back. You know, I know Jordan Poyer's brother is upset, and I know obviously it's not all fun and games for these families and players who get cut and released by a GM. It's impossible to keep everyone happy in the NFL as a GM, especially when you got that cap space we're dealing with. But I appreciate you guys all so much. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit like, subscribe. 80% of you are not subscribed. But also check the links in the description. You guys can check out Course Careers, get $50 off any of their free introduction courses too. You can get a high-paying job in tech. I mean, all sorts of different things. But I appreciate you guys. Hit like and subscribe, and go Bills.